Welcome to The Age Hack, a longevity lifestyle podcast. As always, I'm joined by the wonderful Fiona.
Hi, Paul.
Be sure to check out The Age Hack online. You can find us on IG at @theagehack_pod. Send us a DM if you're a longevity lover with any ideas, or if you just love the show, just let us know. Fee, we've got a great ep today, chatting about the beautiful Italian blue zone of Sardinia, which a lot of people know about.
Love it.
And potentially a new longevity heavy hitter. A new person.
A new person.
Let's go.
So, Paul, we've chatted a couple of times about your dad and the saunas and things that he's doing to wind back the clock. But I feel like we really need to give an honourable mention to Joy, to your mum.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because she is amazing, right? But are we allowed to say how old she is and what she looks like, what she's doing? Or
Well, let's just do it anyway. She might not be happy about it. She's the same age as my dad, so born in 1951. So as of the moment, she's 73 years of age. She still works. She cuts hair. She dances multiple times per week. She's always helping me out, cooking my food, helping me with meals, catching up for lunch. Lots of energy, lots of vitality, and just loves life and travels the world.
yeah, she's got so much energy and she's so young at heart, and she looks it as well.
That's right. Yeah, she definitely doesn't look her age, and she gets that all the time.
And how much would you put down to genetics, and how much would you put down to the healthy lifestyle she's living and how active she is and the sorts of things that she does with the dancing and working? And
it's really hard to know, isn't it? So, she definitely has a positive outlook on life, and I think that's
important.
Played a big part.
Yeah.
My sister is very healthy, as you know. She won't put a thing in her body that isn't nourishing. So might be hard at times for her, because then sometimes if she can't find anything, she doesn't eat. But all organic, free range, fruits, veggies, and if all she can find is mangoes, she'll just eat mangoes, So
Mum's probably learnt quite a bit from that.
Exactly. Mum sort of, because they do live together, Mum will often eat very similar.
Yeah.
So she's automatically eating super clean.
Yeah.
And then she's active. A lot of people sort of hit that 65-year mark and decide, hey, look, I'm retiring. And they, in essence, give up the ghost. They don't use their brain anymore. What are they doing? They're sitting watching TV. They're not challenging themselves. Whereas Mum has stayed active. She's still working. She's still dancing, learning new things, seeing new things. She just got back from a trip from Sri Lanka after 3 weeks. And, 2 months before that, she was in Milan.
Has really kept up that energy and adventurous spirit.
Exactly. I think she's going to Japan in a few months as well. So she just loves living her best life.
Yeah. Do you think she has sort of like a purpose? Because a lot of people say, longevity, it's about having a purpose and a reason to get up in the morning. Do you think she has that as well?
Yeah, she always says, she lives for us kids, which is always a great purpose. And she also is enjoying, her time as well by travelling. So I think, and she's working too, and seeing her clients that she's been looking after sometimes for 30 years. I think one of her clients is a centenarian now. They're 100 years old. So
amazing.
She does have quite a few purposes, so to speak.
Yeah, but she's kind of covering it all off, right? She's getting a lot of natural movement. She was saying to us some days she's getting 18,000 steps.
Which,
super active.
It's more than I do. She does have little legs.
Little legs.
So might travel half the distance. But, that's a lot of steps.
Yeah, so super active, working, travelling, seeing new things, dancing, learning new things. And I think having a purpose and having a nice community as well, through family, through her clients, through the dancing. I think she's kind of ticking, I don't know if she's knowingly doing it or unknowingly doing it, but she's ticking a lot of the boxes for longevity.
She really is. She's a whirlwind. She's a force. And she's wonderful.
Amazing. So, Paul, our Blue Zone Wisdom of the Week this week comes from the Blue Zone of Sardinia in Italy.
Excellent.
It's another Mediterranean island destination. The average lifespan there is 83.
Okay, so pushing a little bit higher than some other ones we've chatted about recently.
Yeah, but one of the most remarkable things about Sardinia, I thought, was the fact that there are as many centenarian men as there are women in Sardinia.
That's interesting, isn't
Yeah.
it? You know,
Women tend to outlive men a little bit
in all the stats.
in all the stats across all the other blue zones, but something with the Sardinian men.
Guys have got it in Sardinia.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And the piece of wisdom that I want to bring from them is this concept of the downshift.
Okay. Oh, I'm not too sure where this is going,
Yeah.
so let's hear it.
So the downshift being basically the daily shedding of stress. So in Italy or in Sardinia, they call it aperitivo, you know, having a happy hour in the afternoon, getting together to have a drink and basically unwind from the stress of the day with some close friends, family, kind of playing and teasing each other and just relaxing in the afternoon.
Right. So even drinking an alcoholic beverage and they're still within the blue zones.
Yeah. And so this is something that's kind of reflected among the blue zones is this concept of not necessarily waiting for like a holiday to come along, but, you know, taking time every day to, you know, have a siesta, have a happy hour, you know, take a little, or in Okinawa, I think they take time to honour their ancestors. In other places, they take time for prayer or contemplation. And yeah, in Sardinia, they have the afternoon beverage where they can just relax and take these sort of, I think they call it, I have it written down here, active coping. So rather than waiting for a holiday to have like a big decompression and de-stress, they're sort of decompressing every single day.
Interesting. I love that. With a drink with your mates.
Yeah.
Actually sounds like an Australian thing to do, except we might typically drink a 6-pack, whereas they're probably just having...
Just have a glass of wine together. Yeah, relax, laugh a little bit. And I think the thing to consider with this is that even if they're not necessarily solving their problems in that hour, just having that hour to enjoy life and enjoy connecting with other people helps to reduce cortisol. So maybe once you come out of that, you can actually tackle those problems a bit more effectively.
How interesting.
There's and we were talking earlier in the week about rumination and how sometimes it can be bad or it can have negative mental health impacts when you're sort of overthinking things.
Yeah, so, you know, psychologists will say, let's talk about your problems. And it's good to acknowledge them, but we've got to talk about our problems, learn from our problems, but move through them and move through the emotions that they invoke.
Yeah.
If we ruminate on the problems, they
Over
start
and
to
over
become
and over again.
part of us, and that changes our identity to maybe from being a positive to a negative person, and that's not good. So rumination is not a good thing. Feeling emotions, moving through them, learning from them, and then moving on is the right way to go.
Is the right process, yeah. They did a study in 2000 which found that rumination was a significant predictor of the onset and duration of depression. The study suggested that individuals who tend to ruminate when feeling sad or distressed are more likely to experience prolonged depressive episodes. It's also been shown to exacerbate symptoms of anxiety, stress, and emotional dysregulation.
There you go.
So I think the concept of the happy hour or the aperitivo from Sardinia.
You can't ruminate during happy hour
Yeah, and
with
I mean,
your mates.
you know, they say a problem shared is a problem halved, something like that. So
Yeah, isn't that interesting? I think we can learn from that.
yeah, I think just the idea of like taking a little time out of each day to consciously decompress, whether you're talking about the problem or whether you're just putting it aside for an hour just to relax and enjoy and ground yourself in what really matters to you, you know, which is being with the people that you care about, that you love, in this beautiful planet.
So I might skip my afternoon meditation today and just go have a drink with some mates.
That sounds good.
That's what the Sardinians would do. So Fiona, you mentioned last episode there's a new heavy hitter on the longevity scene. So we're all wondering, who is this person? He, she, who are they?
Well, look, I think it's still to be confirmed. I think that we can take a look at their protocols, take a look at their diet, their lifestyle, what they're doing longevity-wise, and decide if we want to induct them into the Longevity Heavy Hitters Hall of Fame.
Geez, they're going to be pretty good to stand alongside Dr. David Sinclair and Brian Johnson.
Yeah, well, we have mentioned him once before on the podcast. He's currently third in the Rejuvenation Olympics. He's beating out Brian Johnson himself with an aging rate of 0.63. His name is Siim Land.
And is he now researching, donating his body to science? What's he doing that might earn him this status?
So he's an author and he's a longevity enthusiast. He's been doing it for a decade. He's got a YouTube channel, I believe. So he's got all the credentials. He was actually on the previous episode, we mentioned about saunas, and I read out a tweet from him.
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah. And so, yeah, he had the great advice around saunas, and I've been doing a little bit more research, and he's an author, all of this. And I thought maybe we take a look at his protocol, because I've got that from a Reddit thread.
Okay, all right.
Shady
Must be
Reddit
true.
thread.
Yep.
Must be true. And so I thought maybe we could just pick apart his protocol and see if you think he should be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, this might be a long shot, but let's hear it.
All right. So his diet, he follows a calorie-restricted, high-protein diet and eats a balanced Mediterranean-style diet.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. He's eating 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight.
That's not that high.
You don't think that's high?
He might not be doing a lot of resistance training.
It says 150 grams a day.
I can do the math on that. So he's actually quite a big guy.
Yeah, 130 to 150 grams of protein a day.
Right, okay. So, and 0.08, so we'll divide that 20. Oh, no, he's probably in the 80 kilos mark. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So he's doing time-restricted feeding, so 1.5 meals a day with a small protein meal early in the day, followed by a bigger meal in the afternoon. He stops eating 5 hours before bed.
Interesting, okay. 5 hours, it's quite a while.
He emphasizes polyphenols, vegetables, beetroot, cauliflower, broccoli, spinach, carrot, fruits, blueberries, strawberries, cherries, banana and apple, and starches like potatoes.
I hope he's not combining his bananas and berries, because then he's blocking his polyphenols.
What's that about?
So we all know that berries are high in antioxidants.
Yeah, it's so good for you.
So good for you. Banana contains an ingredient that'll block those. So when we go and have these healthy shakes where we're putting bananas with berries, the banana is blocking that absorption of the healthy antioxidants in berries.
Hey, are you taking a point off him for that?
Hey, he might not be mixing them. So maybe he knows enough to not combine them.
Interesting. You can get some amazing frozen berries now from the supermarket. All organic.
Even wild ones from, Scandinavian countries.
Yeah.
Snap frozen. Amazing. They're tiny.
We're not really buying fresh berries anymore because it's hard to find them organically and spray-free, right?
That's right. And so even if you're not finding organic, which you want organic, let's be honest, it's going to have a lot more nutrition, microorganisms, etc. for nutrients. They're sprayed. And you don't want that.
Yeah.
The spray's there to kill the bugs. What's it going to do to our gut biome?
Yep.
So you think you're doing something healthy, grabbing, that $5 punnet of berries from the shelf, you might be doing more harm than good.
Yeah.
So avoid non-organic berries if you can. You can find spray-free ones with the message on the packaging, but it's very, very difficult to find. It's rare.
Yeah, sometimes you get it from your farmer's market.
Yeah.
Maybe you can grow it yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
He also says eggs are a staple. He eats them daily.
I don't like eggs.
I know you don't like eggs, but they're good for you, right?
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Eats fish 3 times a day.
A day?
Oh, sorry, eats fish 3 times a week.
Wow,
Sorry,
okay, I was going to say,
lines.
that is dedication.
1 to 2 servings a week of red meat. He hunts for most of his red meat himself.
He's leveling up.
He's leveling up.
Yeah.
Eats dairy products such as cottage cheese and whey protein.
Okay.
I was surprised by that because I feel like both of those are quite high in lactose and could be a bit inflammatory.
If he's on whey protein isolate, lactose is a milk sugar. And you get WPIs that have in the 0.2 sugar, which means that all the lactose has effectively been removed. There's typically a number, and it's 2 grams of lactose, that if you are lactose intolerant, that's your threshold as a general rule. So having a quality whey protein isolate, having all the milk sugars removed, you're going to be okay.
Cool. And I suppose that helps him hit his protein goal, his big protein goal.
Absolutely. Yeah, looking at 90% purity. And so a small scoop, just drink it down, and all of a sudden he's got, 30 grams of protein.
Yeah.
That's right.
He avoids refined oils. We know how you feel about vegetable oils. He sticks to only extra virgin olive oil.
Legendary.
Doesn't drink alcohol at all. And he gets a bit of plant protein from hemp, peas, lentils and nuts.
Okay.
Drinks green tea and coffee. So that's a win for both of us because you like green tea and I like coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's about it on his diet. Exercise-wise, he does 1 HIIT session a week, 2 to 3 steady state zone 2 cardio sessions per week, and does resistance training 3 times a week. And he gets 8 to 12,000 steps per day through walking.
Okay. It's pretty good.
Yeah, you're approving of this?
Yeah. So I think, he could probably throw in an extra HIIT session, but those numbers are pretty great. If you, like we mentioned in a previous podcast, if you train too hard, you can burn the candle faster. So there's an optimal level of stress, and he's pretty much nailing it.
I think with the steps per day, I think that makes a big difference as well, because that's just natural movement.
Yeah, the body's made to do it, so let's do it.
He takes antioxidants and may use some synthetic nootropics, which we haven't really spoken about nootropics very much. How would that link in with longevity?
It wouldn't really, except for the fact of brain health. So there are certain amino acids like choline. So you've got acetylcholine, you've got alpha GPC as a choline base that work really well on cleaning off dopamine receptors in the brain and activating them. So also acetylcarnitine will clean off dopamine receptors in the brain, and this will make the brain healthier. So it's sort of giving it a bit of a spring clean, activating it, exercising it, and will lead to less brain deterioration over time. So some nootropics are great, but I would say he'd be more doing it to get the most out of his day.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so really dial in that focus, that dopamine hit. He'll have a lot more drive, a lot more energy to be effective and not waste his time, which if he's doing all these healthy eatings and
doing all this stuff
and probably working at the same time and doing his exercising, he probably needs.
Yeah. 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night on average.
Okay, yeah.
Up to 9 hours when he's focused on recovery. Blue light blocking glasses before bed.
Seems to be a bit of a trend, isn't it? I think that's probably something that we need to start to introduce because they're all doing it.
Omega-3 supplements.
I was going to say, where's his omega-3s? So that's amazing.
He's also eating the fish 3 times a week, so he's getting plenty of that. And then, like we mentioned the other week, he's using the sauna 4 times a week. He does 15 to 20 minutes at 70 to 80 degrees.
Okay, and that's not overly hot.
That would be quite pleasant.
Yeah.
Maintains 10% body fat percentage year round. And that's it. That's his protocol.
I mean, it's a great protocol, but I don't know if it makes him a heavy hitter, right?
Yeah.
Is he donating his body to science? Is he spending $2 million a year on protocols? Is he like Dr. David Sinclair that's uncovering sirtuins and uncovering NAD's role in anti-aging? He's doing a great job, but I'm not too sure that he is a heavy hitter. But he's great.
Yeah,
he's doing a good job.
Maybe he's on his way. Maybe we need to engage a little bit more in his content and see if there's anything there.
Yeah, if he's making ground, I think then he could stand next to these 2 elites.
Yeah, you want the guys that are right on the cutting edge.
Yeah. So, he might be finding stuff out just through his own practices and sharing that. So maybe we just got to watch him a bit more.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Still just 2 in the Hall of Fame for now.
I think I've got to be honest. Yeah, going to be pretty hard pressed to match those 2. David Sinclair's obviously number 1.
Yeah, he's my favourite too.
He's just the greatest of the great. He's the one that uncovered the whole space. And then Brian Johnson is just so next level that he has to be there as well.
Yeah. All right, boss. Your favourite time of the week?
1 minute on supplements.
Yeah,
that
that's
usually
it.
turns out to be an hour. No, not that long.
Yeah. What do you fancy talking about today?
One thing that I love, and it's really not talked about all that much, should be talked about more, is trimethylglycine, otherwise known as betaine anhydrous. It plays a crucial role in longevity. You can use other ingredients, but trimethylglycine, tri meaning 3, is a really well tolerated ingredient by the human body. So there's no allergens. The body likes this ingredient. That has 3 methyl bonds that it can donate for methylation. So when we turn on the longevity functions in the body, so healing of DNA, etc., people don't realise that it burns through our methyl groups. So people take these NAD or nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide precursors like NMN, NR. We get this great DNA restoration. And then about a month later, could be 6 weeks, could be less than 4 weeks, the person might turn around and say, actually, I was feeling great. You know, I was feeling energized, I was sleeping better, my mood improved. Now I'm worse than how I started. You know, I'm tired, I'm irritable, I can't sleep properly. And that's because turning on this process with these NAD precursors burns through our methyl groups. So trimethylglycine being so well tolerated, lots of methyl bonds, 3 methyl bonds per molecule, is a really effective way at donating these methyl groups back for people taking these precursors. And anyone really taking these precursors long term, which they should be. You know, DNA healing is a lifelong thing that we want. You don't just do it for a month and stop. Ideally, you do it indefinitely. And if you're doing it indefinitely, you need a methyl donor. So TMG is simply the best one for it. You know, like I said, really well absorbed, really well tolerated, and very rich in methyl groups to keep donating these methyl groups back for the process.
That's so interesting. It's not one that you hear in reference to longevity a lot.
No, it's not. And then when you delve into the studies, forget about resveratrol, NMN precursors and NAD precursors, etc. TMG is actually talked about for DNA repair just by itself in its clinical studies.
Really?
So, yes, definitely. Yeah.
So what was it traditionally used for?
People will use it as a methyl donor. It's really great for depression.
Okay.
It's really great for detoxification as well, because methyl groups are used in so many different functions in the body.
Why would somebody want or need a methyl donor or be prescribed a methyl donor?
If they don't methylate normally, they might need a methyl donor that's easy to use.
Is there a test for it, like for your methylation levels or something?
It's a genetic test.
Okay.
So you're going to have to send off to 23andMe some blood samples, some saliva samples. There are a few other ones out there that will actually get your DNA spectrum. And you only have to do it once.
Yeah.
People think you need to keep testing different parts of DNA. That's not the way it works. You get one profile one time, and then you send that profile off for different tests, that one profile, because that's got all your DNA data.
Right.
Genetic data. So you can actually test to see how well you methylate. And some people don't methylate well. They need help. So, for example, taking a normal B vitamin wouldn't be great for them. They can't convert it to the active form.
They need
activated and or a methylated B. Methylglycine is great. Depression, we use SAMI, is quite popular. It's a methyl donor, and same with betaine anhydrous. It's also fantastic. You'll find it in pre-workouts because it's amazing for strength and muscle contraction. But amazing ingredient for longevity. It donates methyl groups that are required to rebuild DNA and make sure that process keeps occurring, especially when we've turbocharged it with these NAD precursors.
Very cool.
There you go, TMG, guys. Check it out. It's in Live.
Yes.
The hero product from the Age Hack.
Yeah,
So
yep.
the product has got everything in there. It's got the resveratrol to turn on the enzyme, the NAD precursors to fuel the enzyme, and then the methyl groups to keep donating the ingredients back to keep that DNA restoration process going. So instead of buying 6 products, you can just buy Live.
Awesome.
There you go.
Final part of the podcast for today, boss.
Let's talk about a longevity legend, someone that's aged and doing amazing things, right?
Yeah, amazing. So this week I want to chat about Barbara Hillary.
Barbara.
Yeah.
So that name doesn't sound too old. She's 70s, 80s?
Yeah, Yep, you're pretty well spot on. She passed away in 2019. She was only 88.
Okay. I mean, that's still a great innings, right?
It is.
A lot more than the international average.
Yeah, 100%. She was known for her remarkable accomplishments as a pioneering African-American adventurer, activist, and polar explorer.
Wow.
Yeah. She made history being the first African-American woman to reach both the North Pole and the South Pole.
Amazing. And did she do that? Oh, obviously she did that later in life.
Yeah, so she reached the North Pole when she was 75.
Wow.
And then I think she must have got the bug for it because...
Oh, so she did the South Pole after that.
Yeah, she did
Amazing.
the South Pole when she was 79.
Geez, that gives us hope for the future, right? We've still got so much more we can accomplish.
Yeah, right. She, I think she was... So from what I understand, she was dog sledding in Quebec. She had retired from her nursing career and she found out that no black woman had reached the North Pole. And so she raised about $25,000 to do all of the training to fund her
The expedition.
And yeah, at the age of 75 in 2007, she became the oldest person to set foot on the North Pole and the first black woman.
Right. So just the North Pole and then she did the South Pole.
Yep. So
Amazing.
5 years later, she became the first African-American woman on record to stand on the South Pole at the age of 79 in 2011.
Geez. So she was the first on both and now she's done both. That's going to take a bit of beating.
Yeah. She was an amazing woman. She had a really remarkable life. She was a single mother. She had financial hardships when she was growing up and she still managed to get a bachelor's and master's degree in gerontology. Yeah, just a real go-getter and just, this is one of the most incredible things about her. She had tuberculosis when she was in her 20s. I believe she also had breast cancer at one point as well.
Right.
And then in her 60s, she had lung cancer, which she recovered from and survived. She had to get surgery, so she only had remaining 25% lung capacity. And she did this.
Wow, okay.
And she did this.
That's amazing. Did she smoke or you don't have that information?
I don't know if she smoked.
That's okay.
She was born in New York City.
There you go. Another New York City amazing. Well, I guess their population is so high that great people have got to come from such a
Well, you know,
dense
they always say
population.
that there's something in the water in New York City.
There you go.
That's why the bagels are so good.
Oh, the bagels are very good.
Yeah, but they say that something in the water there and just remarkable people come out of that city.
Well, you've got to be remarkable to be noticed in New York, right?
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I have a quote that she made, which I always like to finish the podcast on a nice quote from one of these incredible people. And she said, "As long as you have reasonably good health, why make yourself old? There's so much excitement in this world and it's there to take."
She definitely took it.
What a quote. I love
What
that.
a legend.
Yeah. Good on you, Barbara.
Good on you.
So that marks the end of another podcast for the HHAC poll.
An amazing episode, Fiona.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to check out the HHAC online. And if you want to see more podcast material, you can check us out on Instagram at the HHAC_pod. Next week's episode, we're going back to Loma Linda in California.
Right, yes.
Draw a little bit more wisdom from there.
Okay.
And we're also going to speak about, also in America, America's oldest woman, her life.
Is she still alive?
No, she passed away, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, still looking forward to hearing about that one. Tune in next time.
Thanks.